We're interested in studying what we would call the gutters of the brain, in other words, lymph nodes. We can get lots of useful information about what's going on in the brain and how it's clearing out waste products. We hope to greater understand how the brain ages and how that increases people's risk of dementia, so that we can better understand this devastating condition and hopefully lead us to better ways of diagnosing it and coming up with more effective treatments.
We've learnt a lot working with people in other brain conditions, but now what we want to understand is how that links up with what's called neurodegeneration. So essentially as the brain ages and changes in shape and function and puts you at risk of things like dementia.
We're looking across a spectrum of people, so we're looking for healthy people and we're looking at people who are slightly older and also have some memory issues as well, so that we can compare these two groups and understand more about the changes that happen when you've got issues with your memory.
Supporting participation is really important to us. We can do a number of things. Probably the most important, we have budget to cover your stay here locally near the hospital and also your travel. So we can help out with travel and accommodation expenses. So what we're really trying to do is make this as inclusive and as easy to participate in as possible.
It will be me speaking to you, consenting you, which essentially means me running through why we're doing the study, some of the risks and benefits, and if you agree, I'd be able to arrange a time for you to come in to our research lab.
For the sampling of lymph nodes, you come to the John Radcliffe Hospital ultrasound department, because this procedure is done under ultrasound.
One of the research team members was waiting for me and went through the consent process and then went back actually into the radiology suite to meet the radiologist. Was walked through the procedure and some of the risks associated with it by the radiologist there. And again, confirmed consent and really confirmed that I was okay to participate in the study.
We'll give you a chance to ask any questions, and it's a verbal consent because it's a very safe and small procedure like a blood test.
I'd liken it most to anybody who's either had an ultrasound in pregnancy or seen an ultrasound being done for pregnancy. It's the exact same sort of procedure from the outside. They're obviously just putting the ultrasound probe on a different part of the body, but you can actually watch them do the ultrasound, which was kind of a fun experience, I guess, to sort of see what the inside of your neck looks like. It's not something you really don't get to see.
I'm amazed, being my age, at how much they can see with the ultrasound and everything. It's really interesting to be able to see it happening out of the corner of your eye.
Once we've seen a lymph node which is quite superficial, safe to go, it's away from any important structures in your neck, we clean the area, go in with a very small needle. As we're going in with the needle, we look at the screen to make sure we're going in the right place, which makes this procedure very safe. So we'll move the needle a bit. That might be slightly uncomfortable, but most people describe it as the feeling of a blood test.
It was relatively painless, and it was no more pain than, again, the sort of needle that you get for a normal blood draw. And I felt that both the explanation from the clinical team as well as from the radiologist on the day was really reassuring. It really was explained quite clearly.
Very painless, and I didn't feel anything afterwards. It did sting for a few minutes, but nothing more than that.
There is enough material in the needle by then. We take it out and we sample it into a tube or a container, and then we go a second time, do the same thing, and that's the procedure done.
The lymph nodes that they're actually targeting are very, very close to the skin, so they don't need to sample very deeply at all. And so it's actually very easy to target, pick a lymph node that's well away from any other structure. It makes the procedure very, very safe.
Lymph nodes have a specific appearance on ultrasound, so it looks different, for example, from blood vessels. And we can definitely tell that this is the lymph node. Our department has done this procedure for more than 10 years, and we're all very much trained in doing this safely and effectively. The bleeding is very little, so it's like an ooze rather than profuse bleeding. Pain, very little, as you experience in a blood test. And because you're going with the needle through the skin, there's a theoretical chance of infection, which we don't see very often in this procedure, but there is a chance, and we will give you instructions on those things after we've done the procedure.
Once they were all done and they sat me up and sort of just checked that everything was okay, and then I felt fine, so that after sort of just confirming that I felt okay and that I was okay to leave, that I was free to go. There was no follow-up that was needed.
We then run a variety of analyses. We look at the different proteins in there, we look at what the cells are doing, we look at the activity between the cells, and that allows us to create a better picture of what sort of proteins are coming out of the brain and what the immune system is doing to clear up the brain.
Thinking about participants who might donate more than neck lymph node and blood, the main thing we are looking at here is also lymph nodes in the armpit and also the fluid surrounding the brain, the cerebrospinal fluid. We can talk to you more about that.
All the data then goes into a much larger data set. All the data is anonymized, so we won't be able to pick out exactly whose data belongs to whom. We'll be able to tell you, after we've run all the analyses, what we've found from the general study, but we won't really be able to comment on individual people's data.
Our whole team, including the research team and the radiology team, they are very experienced in doing this. They've done this for many years. And if you have any questions, we'll be more than happy to answer those questions and explain to you what the study and what the procedure entails.
We really value our participants, and we really want to be able to create a world without dementia, a world where we can treat brain diseases so much better.
The overall goals of the trial are quite important, and so being able to participate as a tissue donor is a good thing to do.
We'd be delighted for you to take part. This is the future of brain science. This is going to teach us a huge amount about aging and Alzheimer's, giving hope for people in the future, discovering new treatments.